My name is Tracy Gendron from Virginia Commonwealth University Department of Gerontology. As we all continue to navigate our way through the COVID-19 virus, one thing in particular has really stood out to me that I wanted to share with you today, and that's the term boomer remover. So I want to talk about that, and I want to talk about generations in general. And for the record, I'm not going to say what you think I'm going to say. Let me start by saying that I think generational categories are complete and utter nonsense. In fact, they're really arbitrary markers that were created by marketers. They're not a helpful way of knowing what somebody thinks, what somebody believes, or what somebody values. Think about it this way. The millennial generation, if you look at millennials, they were born from 1983 to 2000-ish. That means that some millennials were in high school in 1998, while others were in high school in 2015. The people that were in high school in 1998 didn't have texting, didn't have streaming, didn't have smartphones, didn't have Netflix. It is a completely different culture and experience than those that went to high school in 2015, some of who just graduated high school. So you can't possibly compare the experiences of these groups of people, and yet we refer to them all as millennials as if they have everything in common just by saying that. It's the same thing with boomers. Boomers were born between 1946 to 1964. That means that some of them were in high school in the 60s and some of them were in high school in the 80s. Again, how can we put a label on an entire group of people when their experiences were clearly so different? Generations, they are arbitrary and they group people together where clearly there's more differences between them than there are things that are similar. So we have this idea that everyone in a generation is the same. And let's think about that in terms of millennials again. With millennials, what do we tend to think? We tend to think that they're sensitive, that they're entitled, that they're products of the everybody gets a trophy culture. They've been blamed for changing everything from the workplace culture to the auto industry. They're criticized for not wanting to buy crappy dog food and feeding their pets better food. They're also criticized for ruining the diamond industry, which was another thing that the value was created by marketers. If you look at boomers, it's the same thing. We're told this narrative that they're all wealthy, that they're selfish, and that they're all responsible for creating climate change. Both of these are clearly wrong. They are clearly characterizations of people that are way too broad. While some people will fall into those categories, most people won't. So what that tells me and tells us is that this idea of generational warfare is completely made up, yet we're all buying into it. It's really just manufactured. The problem and the reason that we have things like OK Boomer and Boomer Remover coming up is that people are fed up with labels. And I mean all people. Millennials are tired of being dismissed and told that they are too young to understand and that their opinions don't count. OK Boomer was a response to that. OK Boomer was saying, if you dismiss me, I'll dismiss you. That's ageism in response to ageism. Boomers are tired of being dismissed because they're told that they're too old to understand, or they're out of touch, or they're responsible solely for systems and cultural models that have taken place. This is all about ageism. But what's really going on and what's really important that's underneath it is that these differences that we're all feeling aren't actually based on age. They're based on ideology. They're based on our value system. So I think it's a real opportunity now to put the attention where it needs to go. If you want to do something about the state of the world, then go vote, then go do something. Make your voice heard and make your ideology represented. But we need to do this together. Boomer Remover is the next step in this made-up generational warfare. And I'm here to tell you that no matter what your age is, we have more in common than we do that's different. And we have more power collectively when we unite on our ideology, when we come together on the issues that matter to us. Gerontology teaches us that aging is living. not just when you're older, but throughout your entire life. Living and aging are things that we all have in common. The rise of ageism against both young and old, especially right now, is so troubling because this is a time where we need to create community more than we ever have before. So let's build community together and not tear it down.